fantasy come true. But no, Stable Duel.
Download the Stable Duel app and play today.
We're back another Friday morning on this weekend in Stable Duel. We've got Matt DeSantis, Barry Spears, Gino Bacola here as we get ready for another big weekend of horse racing. Big times in Stable Duel, Matty. Just thinking about the last week and a half, they have huge games for the Preakness. They were able to finish up their year with the jumps and some of the free games they had with those games. And now standardbred racing coming soon to Stable Duel, which is really, really cool. A big fan of the harness races myself. So always making moves, always trying new things. That's what we love about Stable Duel. They are very kind of proactive. They try new things. They get feedback. If it doesn't work, if some of the players don't like those games or those formats, they try different ones, higher level, lower level, different tracks. So, I mean, that's all that you could ask for a company and for a product. They test things out and they see what works.
Absolutely. And I think they listen to their customers as well. I mean, when people have tracks that they really want to see played there, they try to make things happen. I know Bree's got a lot of exciting things lined up for this summer. I know in particular with the standard breds, particularly trying to do perhaps joint contests where it's like one contest, but at multiple tracks.
Nice.
And so that I think would be a lot of fun. So they're trying to work that stuff out, which would be a blast. But yeah, man, it's also a fun time of year because it is the return of regional tracks. I feel like you get Assiniboia opening up, you get Delaware Park opening up, you get Canterbury opening up this weekend. So I feel like there's a lot of excitement in the air in those smaller regional tracks that are opening up. And in my part of the country, we got Colonial Downs. You know, the condition books opened up and we got to see all the stakes races that are going to be coming this summer, like the Arlington Million and the Beverly D. So an exciting time down here in Virginia as well. My
man, Barry, how we doing this weekend, buddy?
Hanging in there, trying to recover. I was sick the last, since Derby Day, to be honest with you. I've been struggling, but we're back. I think we're
finally
back.
went to the doctor myself
energy.
a couple days ago, and the guy he was like, it made me feel better. He took 2 seconds. He looked in my nose, in my ears, and in my eyes, and was like, there's stuff in all three of these things. And he gave me stuff for my eyes, for my nose, and a decongestant, which is funny because I don't ever take anything that has like additional energy because I don't need it at all. I've never in my life. So I took a decongestant the other day, man. I felt like I was Breaking Bad. I was straight up like, oh my, where did this energy come from? It was just nuts. So if I'm a little extra boosted over these next few days, it's because I'm popping some pills over here. No doubt about it. So let's dive into what's going on this weekend. Focuses at Gulfstream Park, Santa Anita. And then Matt, if you want to go through the possible games for Friday, on Saturday, we open up at Canterbury. And what's great about Canterbury is like really fun vibe of a racetrack, really good racing because they have turf racing at all levels, which I love. I play like Louisiana Downs and Sam Houston. There's so many horses that just can't find spots on the grass at bigger tracks. Yeah. They would love to run on the grass. They're better on the grass, but they just can't run against horses that are that much better than them. You find spots for them, and it's so much fun. And they listen to the bettors. They have 10% takeout, pick fours and pick fives. They were like the first track that was doing this. So shout out to Canterbury. I'm going to try to play and post some selections from them as much as possible here and there, because I think we should always try to play these tracks that do their best for us.
Absolutely. And so on Friday, we have a contest at Gulfstream Park. It's a $30 contest with a $1,200 pot. There's a maximum of 3 entries. We also have a contest at Woodbine, going back up to the Great White North, which is opening up their turf track, I think, this weekend as well. Yeah. And so there's a $7 contest with a $350 pot. That was a fun one yesterday too. A lot of people were in that $5 game yesterday. So $7 there. And then out at Santa Anita, your neck of the woods today, $10 contest, $600 pot out at Santa Anita. So something for every level of player and a lot of different tracks from across the country.
Let's dive on in. Gulfstream Park, we just found out, I believe Mike Welsh tweeted they're off the turf today. So have some audibles, some changes to call. But I think there was still 1 or 2 to look at today, Matty, that you said you might be able to throw one downfield at Gulfstream.
Yeah, I will. I'll just kind of talk two very quickly, and the first one is in race number 6. And so the two plays that I had were both on the turf, and now obviously are going to be on the synthetic. But I actually like the play in race number 6, which is a $50,000 maiden special weight for 3-year-old fillies and mares and older, going 5 furlongs. Now it's going to be on the Tapeta. And I really like the number 3 in this race, One Smokin' Rita, 10-1 on the morning line. And I actually kind of like the fact that it's on the synthetic, maybe even a little bit more, because the dam, Clara's Dream, was a Golden Gate horse and was a really good synthetic horse and just a useful synthetic horse. That's where it was. And the second dam was also running on synthetic sometimes as well. So, it just, I think that transition from dirt to synth is not a bad one here. Also, it's going to trainer Ralph Nix. If you look at the trainer statistics here, I mean, first off, the trainer change at 33% with a 390 ROI. Off 180 plus day layoff, 44% with a 373 ROI. Getting first time Lasix, 32% with a 214 ROI. So there's a lot of positive moves taking place with this particular horse. And, oh, by the way, this horse ran against decent state-bred, Calbred company out in Santa Anita. That first start went against Ceiling Crusher, who won 3 in a row, including a stakes race. So there was good company out there in that race. I just thought at 10-1 on the morning line, only going to cost you $1,000. Now it's on the Tapeta. I kind of like the number 3 here a little bit.
Yeah, not a bad one. This horse, Ceiling Crusher, came back a couple weeks ago and earned like a 94 Beyer speed figure. Absolutely dusted a group, and making her first start at 3. One Smokin' Rita for Bada Bang Racing, number 3, right there.
Let's hope we get a good call from Pete on that one. So, and then in the 9th race, I think I'll just kind of mention a couple of horses very quickly. I was initially on the number 6, but now that it's going to the Tapeta, I'm not necessarily as thrilled with that selection.
Sure.
And so I may throw one really far downfield and use the number 2 horse actually in this race. And that's a horse that actually has some decent, has only gone on the synthetic once, but it was actually its best effort and finished 3rd last time out. 20-1, you're paying almost nothing in Stable Duel for this horse. But the interesting part that I noticed about this field, as I was very quickly trying to recalibrate before we came on air, was a lot of these horses actually don't run better on synth, or that haven't had great synth efforts.
They were really trying to get on the turf in this race.
Yeah,
right?
very much. And so I was like, okay, like there's not a lot of synth form in this race, even among some of the better horses. And honestly, that 49 Beyer speed figure last time out for the number 2 kind of holds up in this race. So I think there's kind of crazier options. And also from a scratch, we don't know the scratches yet. I would imagine this one's not scratching out, and I imagine there will be some other scratches.
Well, especially in Stable Duel, right? If this horse is 20-1 and you're building your lineup and then they scratch out, this horse is going to be 5-1.
Exactly. So I just thought that one might be useful.
Couple plays today at Gulfstream Park for Matty. Barry had a couple that were on the grass, so we won't worry about forcing him to call any audibles. We still have plenty of other options as we shift on over to Santa Anita. This is a big weekend at Santa Anita. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday racing. Saturday and Sunday, they will have bonuses in the pick 6. So if you're the only winning ticket, you get $1 million bonus. You get $1 million payout. And then on Monday, it's a jackpot payout in the pick 6. Big happenings all weekend long, big graded stakes races. Let's start today. I'm going to be looking at races 2, 3, and 5. And where's Barry's in race 5 and 6? Maddie's going to be looking at race number 7. So I'll start things out and bring up Santa Anita. Also want to let you all know that over Memorial Day weekend, they have a big sale right now at Daily Racing Form. You can get up to about 50% off on all of the products. So if you're someone who uses Clocker Reports, DRF Picks, if you know you're going to use the past performances because you play Del Mar or Saratoga a lot, you might as well buy them right now because you can save, and then it'll be way cheaper for you when you want to start playing them in a month, in a few weeks. So big Memorial Day sale. Check out all the details there at drf.com. So we bring up Santa Anita for Friday, and I'm going to talk about the number 2 at Santa Anita or the number 1, excuse me, in race number 2. There were a couple races early on the card that I thought, they don't look very good on paper when you are kind of scrolling through them because they're not the biggest fields. But I thought there might be some vulnerable favorites, which is what we really like in Stable Duel, when we can find favorites that we can maybe take a swing against. So I may have found a couple back-to-back races here early on the card. So this second race at Santa Anita, it is an optional 50 on the turf. Now, the 3 Slam Diego is going to take money. The 4 Rose Barton is going to take money. And the 5 Tiergarten are going to take money. It's a small field. They're going to all be like 3-1 or under. Tough horses to use in Stable Duel. We start kind of diving into them. Like Slam Diego's fine. Swartz had some trouble at the start last time out. Like, she's fine. She fits well. She's the measuring stick in this race. The 4 Rose Barton, she has some ability and a little bit of back class, but her 2 races over here haven't been great. She was off the turf last time out. They had the blinkers. She's not necessarily a cinch by any means. Then you have Tiergarten here, who's fine. Another horse who's, had to drop to the maiden 50 level to get the job done and kind of put her over the top. I'm not really like all that impressed with these short price horses here that are going to take a lot of money. I just look at the way the race is going to shape up. I think they're going to send this one horse hard from the inside. And I think we're going to at least get a really nice run for our money and a brief thrill with Precious Baby. Her debut, she takes a field wire to wire at 25-1. Then she comes back in her second start and she faced open first level allowance company. That was just a little bit too tough and a little too far. She was going 1 1/8 miles that day. Following that, she tries the turf again, but look, she doesn't get the lead. Look how fast they were going in that race. Basically 23 flat on January 28th. Like, they went really quick to the first quarter. And then in the next 2 races, look at how fast they've gone. 22-2, 22-3. So she hasn't been able to get close to the lead in those races because they're going so much faster. Then compare her to the horses outside of her in this field. She's getting the lead in here from the inside. I think the plan is just send hard and let's see how far she can go. The number 1, Precious Baby. She is 6-1 on the morning line in a short field like this. She's going to be 5,000 in your Stable Duel lineup. I like the number 1, Precious Baby, giving us a good run for our money here.
That kind of horse is what I call the hero maker.
Yep.
Because, in a situation, especially where this falls on the card, like a pick 4, pick 5 situation, that's a horse you can single.
Yep.
And, whether he wins or not, or she wins or not, is another story. But that's the perfect horse to single because the horse not going to get a lot of play, has a real decent chance to win, favorable,
the race shape,
pace scenario.
Right?
Right.
You know
the
what
pace
you're going to
scenario
get
is
from
going to
her.
set up. Right.
She breaks well. She's out on the lead. And then if she's good enough, if she gives you a good run for your money, boom, like you said, then you've got to pick 4 or pick 5 where you've got 3x3 by 4, or whatever on the other sides with a big price already. So you're absolutely right. That's not a bad way to build a ticket. And even right next door, I have an almost like, it's really weird because very rarely in like back-to-back races do things look like they could play out sort of similarly. I think it might in the third race, and I'm hoping that it does in races 2 and 3. So if I looked at Austonian initially in this field, I would say, I don't think he's good enough to compete with some of the best in here. But whenever we're trying to beat horses, it's always a horse like Worcester, like this, when they're coming back from Dubai and they're going to be a big favorite. This horse is 3-5 on the morning line, and he's returning from Dubai. Is he the best horse in this race? Absolutely. Is he the most likely winner of this race? Probably. But at 3-5 off of that trip, do we want to take that? I don't. I sure don't. So my approach in this race was I'm playing against Worcester. Right? So that's the way I started looking at this race. Okay, for sure, I'm against this horse. Now, where do I go? Who do I get to? Couldn't make my case for Noble Gary. Tried to get there. His only race on the turf wasn't very good. Need to see more from him. Smart Mo is a first-timer going long. There's not like monster pedigree here. And for Sheriffs, generally a little bit better with a race or 2 under their belt. Dazzle Me Silver could absolutely win this race. The drop in from the Santa Anita Derby makes sense. I like this drop better than like coming back from Dubai with a couple months off. I'd have no problem if anyone wanted to use the 3 in any type of exotics I think the horse fits. Need to see a little bit more from the two Finding Love. The horse's only race was on the turf. And again, Barry talks about this a lot of the time. You start eliminating horses, and now we get back to the one because like we've basically eliminated everybody else in this race but the three. Now we get back to the one. The career debut, let's look at that race. It was very good. It was a runner-up effort. I know it was against Calbreds, but he still ran well. And then in his next start, Austonian is the 7 in here, and he just completely misses the break, and he's done. Like you'll know right away, and that's just it for Austonian, who is, right here. Boom, squeeze back, and Austonian's done. Like, good luck to Austonian. I think he's going to get the complete opposite trip in here. Like, who's going to go with this horse early? He adds the blinkers. He's stretching out from 2 sprints to a mile. The 2's not as fast. The 3's not really fast. I think he's going to sit. The 4, Smart Mo, is a first-time starter. Maybe this horse is. Worcester's not really fast, and neither is Noble Gary. I mean, if you're Barrios on this horse with the blinkers, you just got to send hard from the inside, and you hope that Worcester's a little bit short, and that the 3 and the 5 worry about each other. And it's, again, another horse that, is he as good as maybe 2 or 3 others in this race? I don't know. But could he get a scenario where he has 2 or 3 lengths on this field? I think so. So back-to-back ones for me. Race 2, the number 1, Precious Baby. Race 3, the number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austonian from the inside. Yeah. So,
I love it.
Stunning fools, drinking some beers. Those are my early 2 at Santa Anita for Friday. And we've got a couple coming up. Matt's got one in the 7th, Barry, but you've got one in the 5th. So let's talk about race number 5 as we move along to race number 5 at Santa Anita.
It's a really interesting race. It's a $50,000 claimer, optional claimer, going a mile in the dirt. And it's really, the reason I call this an interesting race is really because of one horse, and that's the 3 Gazelle.
Yep. That's the horse who I picked.
There you
go.
That's not who I picked.
Yep.
But I think he adds a lot of intrigue to this race at a big price. Because back in 2021, he was pretty good.
He lost. Look at some of the horses who he lost to. We just saw.
Mass Parade.
Prevalence ran well last week. He just ran into a buzzsaw in straight no chaser. Like, Prevalence was right there running with that horse, and he moved up the rail and straight no chaser and said, nah, just shrugged him off. But that was really impressive. Stage Raider, Quantum Leap, and Marching were all in that debut race. They all came back to win their next start. So we see Quantum Leap here. Then Mask Parade, who's the Ohio Derby winner. Wolfie's Dynaghost, who's a multiple stakes winner, who is really good on the synthetic. So all these races are solid, Barry. And then we can even excuse the one against Wolfie's Dynaghost because that was in the slop at Belmont.
Not his thing.
Yep.
And I didn't really know what to do with this horse. I have the tendency to believe that this horse is going to get bet way down from that 15-1. Because there really isn't too much to grab onto here. So you have the horse, the 4, Deservedly, who has speed. You have Soul of Midnight, who definitely wants to get up and go. Same thing with Tiz Talk. So my thinking is that this pace might be a little bit lively up front. And that left me with Trusty Rusty. I think this horse can just fall into a good trip. He's on the rise. The last 2 races this horse's run has been pretty damn good and fits with these horses. It's just a matter of getting the trip. And I think this one kind of just falls into it. And at 8-1, I got to give this one a shot.
Trusty Rusty 8-1. I'm right next door with Ghazali at 15-1. Yeah, you see that last race, and the horse just didn't pick up the feet really at all. It was like a run around the race, get some fitness in, but then came back following that and worked 46-4 on May the 13th.
It's like, obviously, if this horse is 15-1, you got to have to take a shot.
Yeah,
but
he's going to be 8. Like, he really shouldn't be 15 because of the variables, right? He should be like 8. Like 8 makes sense because he's a total wild card. But in Stable Duel, it's nice. Like, if you're having a tough time building your lineup, this is definitely a pick 4, pick 5 horse to throw in. Like, throw them in because, if the horse doesn't have anything left anymore, Maybe, because a long layoff sometimes is really hard to come back from. But if there's a little bit of these races down here, as Barry mentioned, keep in mind this is a drop in class from where he was last time too, from this first level allowance to this optional 50 claiming race. Is a lot softer spot here for Ghazali. Maddie, I believe you're right next door.
No,
Barry,
I'm in 7, Barry's in 6.
Oh yeah, we're going to double. We got doubles.
Double us up, Barry.
So this one is a start allowance, 50,000, 6 furlongs on the turf, flat 6, not down the hill. But this is another one that seems on paper there's a lot of speed going on here, a lot of speed from the outside, with Westward Look, Seismic Spirit, Law Abiding. Those horses all have speed. Please Focus might be the speed of the speed. Thunderheart needs to be forwardly placed. You could even say Barsabas might want to try, even though he's kind of cutting back, he still might want to go anyway and add to this pace. And again, maybe the lone closer here, but Square Cat kind of fits the description.
Yeah.
Has run good enough races at this trip to win. And I don't think this horse is going to be launching from way back. I think this horse can stay in contention close enough to make that run. Probably will be ahead of some of these horses that I named as front runners just because they're all not going to run. But man, this horse merits a really good shot in a race like this.
Big price also of 12-1. So Maddie, I know you got to run in just a couple of minutes. So why don't you give us your horse right next door quickly? And then I'm going to pull up Canterbury. You can mention the first race that you have at Canterbury and then get on out. So you can get into your meeting soon. Race number 7 is who you had at Santa Anita, right?
Yep. Race number 7 at Santa Anita, maiden special weight for 3 to 5-year-old fillies and mares, state bred, maiden special weight 61, going 5.5 on the turf, or on the dirt, I should say. And I like the number 8, Never Not Once, 15-1 on the morning line. And this is a horse that actually ran against the boys in debut. And that kind of really stuck out to me. I mean, it was still a state bred race, but ran against the boys and showed a little something, tried to make a move and then just flattened out a little bit down the stretch. And even in the DRF notes, they basically said a horse kind of looked like, she needed one, needed a little bit of conditioning. She gets another work in before this race. And the speed figures, honestly, like there's no way this horse should be 15-1. And from a stable duel standpoint, this horse makes a ton of sense to use because there are horses that are, much lower price that are, that have shown less than this horse. So I just think the 8 makes a ton of sense here as a stable duel play at 15-1. You're only going to pay $500 in stable duel for this horse. Now she's going to be running against her own sex for the first time. So I think she makes a ton of sense in this spot as one who's going to give a really strong effort.
Pretty sure I've heard my son Milo say this to me when I tell him to pick up his toys. Milo, get those. No, never. Not what? No. I felt like I've heard that before quite a bit. So as we move from Santa Anita, let's pull up Canterbury for Saturday because I know Matt's got one in the opener. He can give that one to us and then get on out of here because Matty, they have a big opening weekend this weekend at Canterbury, and you were mentioning that what was the style? Do we know exactly what format it's going to be yet for the game?
So we got a $5 entry, so it's great for everybody that wants to play. So it's a $5 entry, $250 pot, limit of two stables, but it's a 9-race card at Canterbury. You mentioned several turf races, including this one, the very first race, and so my just wait a second here as I'm pulling up my.
I wouldn't be shocked. I've got one right here too. I wouldn't be shocked if we're on the same horse in this race right off the bat.
I like the number 5, I believe.
Oh, here we are.
You knew it. All right.
You knew it.
So so if you just can you scroll down a little bit? Thank you.
So just so much better, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, this turf form is really good, and I think it's something that we talk about a lot, which is if you go back and look at when this horse went to the bench back in 2022. You can just cross a line through the race that sent this horse to the bench and the race that this horse came back from the bench from. Okay. And if you cross a line through those two turf efforts, everything else makes sense and everything else totally fits in this spot. And so I just think this is a horse that was consistently running, 70 plus buyer speed figures, which in this field is going to get the job done. And you're getting a much more palatable price up top at 6-1, as opposed to, a horse like NK Rocket Man or whatever, the number 4 horse. And so I just think Mishko makes a ton of sense here. This is a horse that will be a little further back and make one big run, but it's a rather short field. So I don't think he's going to be as far back as maybe he's given himself a lot of work to do in the past, but I'll use the number 5 there in race number 1. And always good to see that you and I are back on the same page again. Barry, my man, have a good weekend. I will talk to you guys later.
Maddie, thank you,
All right.
buddy.
All right,
Good
man.
luck.
Yep.
Good
Take
luck
it
to
easy,
Maddie.
fellas. Yep.
Yeah, so I'll just piggyback on his point a little bit too. I mean, you just look at they're at the $7,500 claiming level, and this horse has really never run a turf race like at this low of a level. Like all of the grass races have been against way better. Fred's Twirling Candy won a couple races in a row last year. Tut's Revenge is a legitimate stakes horse. These are way tougher races than where Mishko is here. And that April 22nd race at Lone Star, it was very good when finishing 4th that day, kind of a close-up 4th. Maddie and I both on the number 5, Mishko. If you're looking for a play at Canterbury on Saturday, their first post will be 6:07 Eastern time. So you can kick back and enjoy the racing there on a fun weekend. It's a great vibe. And I know Matt had Angela Herman join him. Angela does a really good job. I've known her for a long time. I think probably 2012, 13, she was on TVG, and we would interact back and forth a little bit there. And we've talked along. She jumped in on Elite Racing Network when I was doing some stuff over there, the short-lived one. So shout out to her. She does a really great job up there at Canterbury. I know she joined Maddie for analysis for the entire Saturday card. So speaking of Saturday, let's duck from Saturday Canterbury over to Saturday Gulfstream. You've got a few at Gulfstream, and then we both have a couple at Santa Anita that we're going to take a look at. So, my friend, let us know at Gulfstream Park, where are we headed for you?
Race 4. It's the first one.
Saturday, race number 4 at Gulfstream for Barry, and we're going to be looking at hopefully we're on the turf, fingers crossed, a mile and a 16th on the turf. I mean, you can never project. I think one of those things with turf racing that's so hard is it's really hard to project they're going to come off, because then you don't know who stays in, right? So when you start playing that game, they're off. Well, these 3 horses might scratch with that one. Then you're like, why did that horse scratch? The pedigree looks okay. Like they should have stayed in. You start playing that game and asking yourself those questions. Talk to us about the 4th, my friend.
Yeah, this is a nice little maiden special weight. Going a mile and a 16th on the grass, $50,000 purse. So you see what kind of horses we got here. Now, a lot of these horses are kind of coming from different angles. You have Starship Agenda, the 8, who comes off a nice, synthetic effort, going 2 turns for the first time. And I think that one's going to attract a lot of attention, as well as another horse, the 10, Kara and Colleen out of the Saffie Joseph barn, doing kind of the same thing, just ran an improved race on the synthetic. But a lot of that doesn't necessarily translate unless they're thinking that this race is going to come off. I'm not really sure. But I ended up on number 6, Dancing Deb. Now, this horse is kind of on the rise, and I like the fact that this horse ran a much improved effort going 5 furlongs on the turf, and now stretching out. If you look,
I think I played her last time. Her career,
I think one of us did.
Yes, she got crushed in her debut race.
Yeah,
brutal trip.
Yeah, she got slam pinched off. That was a pretty rough trip. Came back and ran pretty well, but you'll see with horses that kind of want to go longer, they'll have running lines like this where they're kind of even.
And when she hooked a wire-to-wire winner that day too, right? There wasn't much making up of any ground going on May 12th.
Yeah, it was. She just had no shot that day, and I think the stretch out is going to do this horse a lot of good. There's enough speed in here where she could probably be placed very, very well by Krieger. In a race where I'm not really too keen on the favorites, the 10 and the 12. The 12 has to just kind of barrel out there from the way outside, and I think that's going to hurt his chance or her chances. And I think this one might fall into a decent trip. Um, Curlin, who's out of Smart Strike, Tappet Dam, this horse might be able to run, and I'm thinking this might be the spot for it.
Yeah, this horse has a nice little pedigree here. Also, I agree with you. Dancing Deb for the Sniper. She is 8-1 on the morning line at Gulfstream Park in race number 4 on Saturday. Couple more for Barry on the Saturday card. Let's move to race number 8. We're on the synthetic here. We have $10,000 open claimers going a mile and a 16th on the synthetic, so we won't have to worry about this one getting changed or altered for sure. Who are we looking at in this one, my friend?
This is a really tough race. There's a lot going on here, and some really hard knocking kind of horses. Unified Conquest has been around. Timmy M, the North Remembers, Sarawat. Anybody that plays South Florida racing knows these names. I mean, they're just knocking, claiming horses that just go up and down, in and out of form. And this is just the typical bread and butter of any Gulfstream Park summer meet. This is just the quintessential race.
Absolutely.
I ended up on number 1, Krieger again. Funny enough, he's on some live mounts. This one just got claimed last time. And
I would have guessed.
It's
so funny. Like you start to know your friends better. Like I would have guessed this was the one. I would have this has a feel for you. Yep, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some speed here. The 4 has a bit of speed. Telephone Talker probably will go. Winning Factor, not really sure what that horse wants to do. And honestly, this horse likes to finish second and third a lot. So I'm hoping that one takes some money. Rye Sense of Humor will probably have to go. So there's enough speed to this horse to get a nice little trip behind, Sarawat, let's say. I think that one's going to definitely go to the speed. If that horse kind of follows Sarawat, he'll be in a good position to make a run. I mean, his races on March 3rd, February 11th, since coming to the synthetic, going long has been very, very good. And I don't think that trend is going to stop. 6-1, not the greatest price, but that's a good price for a race like this.
Yeah.
And I think this one is going to get it done.
Watch the music. 6-1 on the morning line, 5,000 right on that par, what you need for your stable dual lineup. As we move to Barry's third of 3 plays at Gulfstream for Saturday, let's go to race number 10, and we'll have a 5 furlong handicap on the turf. Fun little turf sprint here. So talk to us. How do you see this race shaping up?
Yeah, there's a ton of speed in here. And the horse that I'm going to give out the 2, Iman, is more of a stable dual play than a win proposition. This horse is 10-1, is going to offer really, really good value in stable dual. There's a ton of speed here. Full disclosure, Capture the Time, Uncle B. That's all they want to do is go to the front. Warrior's Pride. That's a Fact Jack who's 30-1.
Yeah.
Still all ones
Very
in
fast.
past performances. The 8, Hope in Him. Chess Master will probably be forwardly placed. So this is the only horse really that the best closer in a race full of speed. And, it wouldn't surprise me if this horse wins, but definitely is a great stable dual play.
Yep. He loves this Gulfstream Park turf course. And the reason why he's not a 9-time winner versus a 5-time winner is just because of his running style.
Right, running style. He's coming
And
from way
it's
back.
not a class thing or ability thing. It's just he catches horses that are a little faster than him early. And it doesn't look like that'll be the case in this race, where they will be flying early and this horse will be mowing them down late. Just needs to get the trip, just needs to get a smooth journey. Iman, the number 2, who is 10-1 for Barry on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. So couple plays for you at Gulfstream Park for Saturday. And we will finish up with a little Santa Anita for Saturday. So Santa Anita has back-to-back graded stakes races on Saturday. I think they have 3 grade 1s on Sunday. Big
And
racing
Monday, right?
or Monday. Yeah, I got to check. I'm not sure. The grade 1s are on Sunday or Monday, but they're this weekend coming up. Big graded stakes action. Monday racing 2. Barry and I, we're going to look towards the back part of the Santa Anita card. So we could have a couple races where we are doubled up. So you're going to look at races 6 and 8, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to pull up Santa Anita, and we are going to head to race number 5 first for my first play. for Santa Anita. And this is a lower level. It's like a 12-5 claiming race on the dirt. It's actually more of a race that Barry would dive into than me most of the time. But what I like about this, and this is a trend that I've started to notice playing these races in Southern California, Barry, what happens is sometimes if the races, well, first off, Santa Anita in Southern California racing are sometimes in a tough spot because they're kind of out on an island. There's not a whole lot of other tracks like, you know, if you're in Florida or if you're in the middle of the country, there's a lot of other places that if you don't want to run at that track, you're not too far from another track, right? You could ship somewhere else and probably find competitive spots. Well, if you're out in Southern California and if there's a race that you're looking for at Santa Anita and it doesn't come up, what are you going to do? You don't really have places to go. You have small options now. And what they're doing now at Los Alamitos, they're carting a lot of these 1,000-yard quarter horse races because what you can do is you can protect your horses in there. You don't have to put them in for a claiming tag. And they're basically like a really good fitness race for your horse that would run at like a sprint distance already. What ends up happening is the gamblers will see those races in the running lines and they just dismiss horses.
Just toss them.
They're like, this horse came from Los Al last time out. Those are not your normal Los Alamitos races. I'm telling you, they're not just the $2,500 around the hook. These are actual claiming and like better horses that just don't have places to go in Southern California. So they go over there, they sharpen up their speed a little bit, and then they come back. Look at Tropicana Girl. March the 17th, she wins at $10,000 level, going 6 furlongs at 9-1. And then she goes back to Los Alamitos because there's not a whole lot happening. And she runs into some sharp horses. El Diablo Rojo and Darn Quick are really sharp. So is Trouble in Paradise. Now she gets back to Santa Anita. What's interesting, in that March 17th race, she defeated Bella Ranella and she defeated Rain Diva. And if you look through her rivals in this particular race, so she's 5-1 on the morning line, Tropicana Girl. Vegan just lost to Bella Ranella, who the two beat. And we also see our other friend, Rain Diva, here with Drizella. So she just comes out of races where she actually defeated Bella Ranella right here. Talkative Girls 4-1. She beat both of the horses that came out and beat horses in this race. She's only 5-1 because of those two Los Alamitos races.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only reason why she's a higher price than the other two horses, that she beat the horses who came back to beat them. She's got some speed. She can sit a really nice trip. Actually, 5.5 is probably better for her than 6 too, from a distance standpoint. I like the number 2, Tropicana Girl at 5-1. Throw her in your stable duel lineups as we head right next door to race number 6. My friend, take it away. Tell us who you're looking at in the 6th race.
Yeah, the 6 is a nice optional claimer. Non-winners of 1 for 50,000. And if you look through all of these horses, there really isn't much viable speed. I mean, you'll see Coastal Kid has some 1s, but I don't think that horse is the fastest horse in this race coming in from Turf Paradise. You'll see Vanzi has been forwardly placed, doesn't really want the lead. Divine Armor, doesn't really want the lead either. And this kind of, led me to Showtime. And I was like, well, Showtime kind of wants to be forwardly placed, but not really. And that horse hasn't really run that bad, but hasn't really run that good either. So there was really nothing to grab onto there. And then you have Clampett, who's 30-1 on the inside. That just looks like a 30-1 shot.
Yeah.
So that left me with Motown Music, and that's who I'm going with. 5-1, not the highest price ever, but I have a feeling that this horse they're going to try to go to the lead with this horse. The jockey switch to Edwin Maldonado is the key. I don't think this horse can be headed. If this horse goes to the front, I think that this horse has total control of this race, start to finish, has run well at this distance, at this level. I just don't see anything wrong with that horse in this spot.
That was a big effort last
off
time
the
out.
layoff. Yeah.
And what's nice is plenty of time. Don't come back quickly. They gave him an extra few weeks, you could see, since that March 31st race. I think if you're playing any type of rolling exotics, he's a must use. The only horses that I like used in this race were 2-9. You mentioned you kind of went to the 9 Divine Arbor when you were looking for speed horses. I don't think
I gave out Divine Armor last time.
Yeah, and he ran well. He ran
Yeah.
really well. He was behind Lovesick Blues. He was sitting. So what ended up happening, he was kind of right behind the leaders, and he had to just do that shuffle. It looked like he was getting a perfect trip because he had a good start and 3 others had a good start. So he just takes back, and he's sitting 4th behind 3 horses that are battling. So you're watching going, oh, this horse is getting such a perfect trip. This is going to be great. But then the horse Lovesick Blues makes an early move on the outside. He got pinned in. So he had to just wait. Lovesick Blues made the move. He had to move to the outside of him, and that was why he was second. I don't know if he would have won, but would have been closer and made it a legitimate race. So
Probably needed that race too, you know, first since July 2022. So,
Yep.
you know, I can see improvement there too.
And these races down here were good too. We would look at like Laurel River and Ginobili facing some very tough company down here. There goes Harvard on April the 17th, came out of that race to win back-to-back, including a grade 1 race. So he's faced tough company, and pattern-wise, I think he fits pretty well in here. The number 9 Divine Armor. Barry and I both going with a 5-1 shot in this one. Race number 6 at Santa Anita on Saturday. The 7th race, we'll just kind of navigate our way through. I know Barry's got one in the 8th to
Daytona.
finish up. There's the Daytona down the hill. If you're playing this race in Stable Duel, the 1 might be the horse, because from at 5-1, he fits down the hill. He's run really good competitive races against them. Though the 1 to catch is Fast Buck, but it's very much one of those, can he get 6.5? Because
the horse that caught my eye was the 4
yeah,
in this spot.
a lot of back class with this horse.
Yes, very much so. And I like the cutback off the layoff. I think that one merits a real long look at a big price in a race that, you know, a lot of horses are doing a lot of things coming into this race, and most of them aren't really running down the hill.
When the
you know,
problem
it's
with
limited.
both the 3 and the 7, because those would be like the 5, What Makes Sammy Run is the horse who's going to be the horse to beat. If you were looking for the horse to like bet in this race, it probably would have been the 5 or the 7, or it would have been the 3 Fast Buck or the 7, but they're like half the price they should be. That's the problem. Like, those horses are both 5-2. They should be like 5-1 for their actual chances of winning. And that's my concern with those 2. So you're right. Like, I had a tough time getting to the 7 or the 3 because they were too short. I had a tough time using the 5 because he's a little too short. Could you make a case for the 1? Or for the 4, Restrained Vengeance, like Barry did, turning back now to a sprint. Restrained Vengeance, the number 4. But right next door, I wouldn't be shocked if we have the same horse in the 8th race. In the Triple Bend. So,
I don't know.
Okay.
I tend to think that you probably didn't, but
okay.
You never know.
Tell me who you're looking at. Grade 2 Triple Bend, race number 8.
Well, you know how I am, and I'm not really fond of picking favorites at all.
Yep.
So you can imagine that I'm not.
We're
really fond of
eliminating the
Forbidden Kingdom here.
Forbidden Kingdom and Spirit of Machina. Not going to be here. They're both quality horses, but Forbidden Kingdom, you kind of know what you're going to get from him. He's going to go to the lead. If nobody else is there pushing him, he can win. I think if he gets really any pressure at all, he kind of fades.
And he should. I mean, Spirit of Machina is probably maybe a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, Midnight Mammoth, another one that they're gonna go because
from the rail,
on the rail,
gotta go,
has to go. And that leaves me on number 2, Desmond Doss.
Nice.
I think this horse falls into the right trip, has enough speed. He's not going to be far back at all, and could sit a nice, real good stalking trip, get first run, and beat this field. And I like the effort right off the layoff on the turf, which signaled they didn't want to win that race.
And he was behind Fast Buck, who won wire to wire. We just talked about Fast Buck. He's a lone speed horse that when he gets out front, he's really tough to run down. So the shape of this race will be completely different. I don't think we're going to have that one lone speed horse out there.
exactly. And this horse does have a tendency to break a little bit slow. He got checked the last time and still ran on pretty good. So even if that does afflict him here, he's still going to be coming. And I think he's not that far off of these favorites, at least speed figure wise, where he can't compete. He could definitely jump up and win this race. I mean, CZ Rocket is 3-1, and this horse is a 9-year-old that hasn't really won in a while.
Yeah.
And
No, thank you.
you gotta look elsewhere, and
Yeah.
that's where I landed on the 2.
And I'm going to go to the 3 in here, Positivity. So you can look at Positivity and just toss last year in Dubai. This horse went to Dubai. O'Neill has set some strings out there now. And so coming out of these Cal Cup races, right, they're better than they look because Principe Carlo, who is a Calbred, is a horse who is multiple graded stakes placed. So, yeah, that's a Calbred race, but look at this horse. This horse came back and was second in the San Carlos and the Triple Bend in back-to-back races last year behind Cezanne and American Theorem, earning 97 Beyer speed figure in that race. That's a legitimate horse. That's just not a soft Calbred race. And then in the following race, he's behind Brickyard Ride, who we see him lose to again. That's a multiple graded stakes winner against Open Company as a sprinter. He actually might be faster than like Forbidden Kingdom and some of the horses in this race. This horse can fly. So when you look at the races that Positivity was running in before going to Dubai, those races are very good. And they stack up really well with this group. Then he goes to Dubai, 3 races in a row. He just doesn't really fire. And he's off for a full year. Shows back up on April the 22nd. Off a 13.5-month layoff. And he doesn't run that poorly. He's kind of close up. He's behind, like he's kind of in between horses. And then he's chasing Brickyard Ride. Really, really fast. They go sub 44. This horse is chasing this horse off the layoff. So he backs up. He actually looks like he's going to just be completely backed up. And then late in the race, he kind of gets into like a nice stride. He actually shows some pretty decent late energy. The horse who finished right in front of him was a horse named Anarchist, and that horse just went up to Woodbine and won the Jacques Cartier grade 3 with a 98 Beyer speed figure. So I don't know. Like, I think Spirit of Machina is a really nice horse. I don't really know where I stand with Forbidden Kingdom anymore. Like I think he's fine. Like we said, I think you kind of know what you're going to get from him. And in this race, can Positivity get back to some of these races right here? If he can compete with this group and sit the same type of trip that you're looking at maybe with Desmond Doss. If those speed horses, 2 or 3 of them go out and all soften each other up, Positivity, second start off that long layoff. He likes Santa Anita. He's proven at the trip. And we know, 7 furlongs is no problem for him. It's just, is he the same type of horse he was in November of 2021 when he was running his best races? That's what we ask, but it'll be built into the price. He's 15-1.
That's what's up. That's what we look for.
We're always looking for that. We're always looking for ways that we can find a way to make a little money to get the best value out of these races. And on Saturday at Santa Anita, we had a few chances for you there. My man, quick addition today because Maddie had to roll. But very, very happy to be back talking racing with you. And we're getting set. It's kind of like starting to come close to those summer months now. You can feel Saratoga not too far away, Del Mar not too far away. We've got one more big race in the Triple Crown, and the Belmont looks like it'll be pretty good in a few weeks. Tapatrice, Forte look like they're going to be a couple of the headliners pointing there. I think National Treasure also. I think it looked like they might cut the other Baffert back. Maybe is what I was reading. So should be a good group in that one. What do you have coming up this weekend? Anything fun with the family? Any big plans?
No, nothing really crazy. Probably gonna cook out on Monday, to do some ribs or something on the grill, and just kind of hanging out, waiting for Belmont and then Saratoga and Del Mar and all that summer action to pick up. That's what we're waiting for.
We'll be giving Barry a follow on Twitter at Urban Handicapper. Folks, don't forget about that big Memorial Day sale all weekend long, all through Monday, up to 50% off. If you use the Clocker reports, there's baby races coming up at Del Mar and Saratoga. You're probably going to need a lot of help with those. go stack up right now. The digital paper, a lot of people love the format of the Daily Racing Form, right? They've grown up using it. They like the articles in the front and then the past performances. Digital paper, they email you the exact replica of the racing form. So you can get it in the order. You can get it just like you want with all those articles, everything you need all weekend long. My man, we'll be checking out Going in Circles every Monday. Big Mondays with Chuck Simon. I hope you and your family have a beautiful and blessed weekend, and I look forward to talking to you real soon, my friend.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Folks, thanks so much for hanging out with us. You have a great weekend. And as you do, listen to the soothing sounds of Joey Cleveland.
Better. You want to spread your pony knowledge wide. Oh, better. I got a place where winning ain't tough to do. You wanna be cool, stable, do.